Dave, I can't believe you picked him. I cannot believe it, and I can't believe he's averaging like top 5.
He's so good.
What happened? He was just on Simon's vlog.
Have you not watched any of Simon's vlog?
There's a difference between just doing well on Simon's vlog and placing top 5 at a disc golf pro tour.
Okay, clearly you have not watched Simon's vlog enough. For all of you subscribers who have not seen Simon's vlog, his blog is fucking unreal. Like,
I know.
He's gotten better at vlogging just as Casey has gotten better at disc golfing. And it's an inverse trend between Wesley's poor disc golf play and Casey's upward trend.
But my blogging is getting a lot better, so I got that going for me.
Without further ado, Wesley Valiant.
Hello, thanks for having me. What's the name of the podcast? Just to give me some context.
It's the Gentleman's Podcast, Barf and Garf.
Gentleman's Podcast. How could it be anything else? Perfect.
Barf and Garf is the name of the game.
Right on.
Story. Clearly a
story.
Are
you guys both playing this weekend?
We are.
All right.
We're in it.
Are you same division? Side bets amongst you two?
No, actually, Wes, this is a funny story. This is the first time that all of us have fractured in the Masters Cup.
Yeah.
We're actually spanning 3 divisions, believe it or not.
Who's still playing intermediate?
Hey, wait a second.
Whoa.
The story is Masters Cup now is it's an A tier, and disc golf is nuts, and so they're doing that rating thing where
the tiered stuff.
You need 940.
935 is the rating, and I do not meet 935.
935.
Because I'm not as good yet, Wes. I'm still learning.
No shame in that.
Honestly, I kind of love it for Rory. I think he's gonna crush, and it's gonna be amazing.
It would be nice for him to win at some level. You know, it's nice to win.
Why not?
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. This is my 3rd only sanctioned tournament I've ever played in. So
sanction.
I mean, the boys' tournaments are something else.
Yeah.
But the feeling is the same.
Wes, can I ask you a warm-up question before we get going about the Masters Cup?
Sure. Yeah, let's warm it up.
When you have all the pussy over your house, does your other pussy get jealous?
No, she loves it. She just sits in the chair and watches. She's kind of a freak.
Does she purr while you're performing cunnilingus?
I haven't checked. Usually I'm busy.
Hey, is this going on the YouTube or what?
What's going on, bro? Children are going to have to see this.
All right, calm down. Well, that's why I use the technical terms.
Sure, that's right. You're a scientist, man of science. Gotcha.
Let's get into it. I want to get into this Masters Cup preview.
All right, Wesley.
Sure.
Wesley, we're here today on the channel to interview you as our esteemed guest. Let's look at that. Let me see that.
Can we zoom in on that?
Yeah.
I don't know if we can zoom in on that too much.
That's beautiful.
Oh, it was one of the better trophies, no doubt.
Definitely
proudly on my bookshelf.
I love that.
Wow. How many trophies? Do you have more trophies than Kyle?
Man, I think I picked up 3 AM2 trophies and then 3 AM1 trophies. So I don't know if it's more or less than Kyle. He's got that sweet wine bottle one, but I feel like the AM1 win means something. You know, I feel like the AM1 Masters Cup means something.
Whoa!
What are you doing up there?
It's.
Hold it up.
Those are one day fun event.
We'll count it. No, Kyle has that one, the Napa tournament, like spliced in half with the little guy in it. That is a cherry trophy.
That's so great.
I don't know if I have more than Kyle. I do think, if I'm telling the truth, I'm pretty sure Kyle's jar is more full than mine.
Well,
quality
over quantity, Wes.
Fair.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There you go. I like that.
Just like his Bumble feed used to be.
Oh. Hey. All quality, baby, all quality.
So Kyle's playing MA40 this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think, like, to lead into the first question I've got is like, Kyle's playing MA40, Nick's playing MA40. There's some guys that are playing MA40 that are like 980 rated,
Wes
990
Morrison.
rated. I don't know. I guess my question is like, you won AM1 10 years ago, and disc golf was still a high level then. But I feel like the level's getting higher and higher now. There's more people getting to the sport.
Yeah.
Like with the rating systems the way they are, with the way they're capping ratings for registration, I just feel like it's going to get harder and harder to win. Like at every level in disc golf, they're just the competition is intense.
The more 13-year-olds you get into it, like it's just the learning curve for them is so quick. Like I see there are 13-year-olds that I play with, and I'm like, oh, in 3 years, if they stick with it, they'll be better than I'll ever be.
And they're learning they're learning forehand and backhand at the same time.
They're learning forehand and backhand, exactly. And they have all these YouTube videos to watch. I mean, they're watching the best players in the world. They've got them at their fingertips. They can see how to get better so much quicker.
Right.
I remember do you remember the Clash DVDs? Like I would have to order DVDs from a disc retailer. And you get 2 great rounds and it's cool, but it's not the same as every weekend watching the best players in the world.
Wow.
I think it's gonna get much tougher to win. Yeah, but I think the thing about ratings is I feel like that kind of holds across time. Like I do still think that's a good way to compare players across time. Yeah, definitely much tougher. I'm sure the kid who wins the Masters Cup this year is a kid. Like I would be surprised if it was someone who's over 20.
Like Philo said, those young ligaments.
Yeah, man. You guys are talking about Casey White. How old is Casey White? He's 22.
29. 29.
Yeah.
So when you went in that weekend, had you been playing well? Had you been thinking about I have a chance to win? What was your mindset?
Yeah, so I was real deep into my Bob Rotella studies at the time. So the golf psychology, I mean, that was probably at that time period was as much into it as I've ever been, both as far as practicing it actively and just reading about it. And that tournament, I remember the year before I had played the Minnesota Majestic, or maybe 2 years before I played the Minnesota Majestic, and I made a little book. And I made a little book of my game plan for every hole, exactly what I was going to do on every hole, with a couple rooms for adjustment, if the wind is doing something, change it like this. But it was both the disc I would throw and kind of the thoughts that I wanted to be thinking on the tee, whether that's, be committed or miss over here or something like that. So going into the Masters Cup for Pinto Lake and De La, I had a little booklet with me that had my game plan for every hole. And even though I knew my game plan for every hole, I still pulled it out on every tee pad, made myself look at it, and made myself, just kind of be present with it. And I also did a thing that Bob Rotella talks about, which was for every hole that tournament, I marked down a separate score, which was I fully committed to the shot? And that was a different score, separate from my par, separate from everything else. I threw 4 shots that hole. How many of them was I fully committed to it, regardless of the result? And I think that helped a lot. I think that helped a lot. It's a lot of work to do, and I'm sure I could certainly benefit from doing it now because it's not something I do now.
The mental energy that requires, the mental focus. I mean, you've got to be absolutely wiped after that.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I was. You're absolutely. So the other big thing, more than any tournament maybe that I've ever played, that was a really breath-focused tournament.
Yes.
I was really intentional and conscious about my breath, coming back to my breath, and staying with that. And so, yeah, I was absolutely washed. After that tournament was over, I was so mentally exhausted from having played 3 days. But 3 days where I was in it.
You're in
3 days of being in that zone for a long time.
Oh, that's
there were some other funny bits about that tournament. So at the time, one of my goals was to go to U.S. Amateur Nationals in Michigan. They played at the Toboggan every year. You have to get an invite. Usually there's spillover, and not everyone who gets invited gets to go. But I really wanted an invite. I wanted to be asked to come. And that year for the Masters Cup was because there was Worlds that year. It was a B tier, and you didn't get an invite. And I was so mad about that part of the year. I mean, it was just as big a field as it ever would have been. Like it meant just as much. But also because it was a B tier, they threw Pinto Lake in there. And I don't think they've done that since. They might not do that again. They've got the ball golf course now.
Well, that was the year that Worlds they were gearing up for Worlds also. So they were doing a test run for that.
And when they combined the pros and the AMs, I
They
think,
did
just
the
to
whole
kind of
thing.
themselves some fundraising efforts.
Yeah.
But Pinto Lake was definitely a wild card. Like one of the things people who play De La play good at De La. You know, that's a course, if you're a local, you definitely got an advantage there. Pinto Lake is a different beast. Like Pinto Lake
It was playing hard that year. I remember.
Yeah,
it was
yeah. There was a couple of holes out. I think is it hole 18, 17? Is 16 the par
along
4?
The ridge.
Along the ridge with OB or with OB everything on the right.
Absolutely disgusting hole.
That was a big moment of the tournament for me. I had played a bunch of Pinto Lake practice rounds, and I had decided that the tomahawk off the tee was the play. I don't usually throw tomahawks. That's not a big part of my game plan.
Fading left,
just fading left, not going for distance. Just get off the tee, land in the center of the fairway, pitch something up. And I nailed that tomahawk. I almost dunked my second shot, and I got the birdie there. And I was like, okay, this game plan thing is gonna be okay.
That's huge.
Yeah, it was. And I think walking away from the course, I think I might have been over par, maybe 3 shots over par, something like that.
But
didn't feel the best at Pinto, yeah. So if you're looking,
I was looking at your score, and only that one guy beat you. The guy that you were talking to me about earlier. What was his name?
I think there was 2 actually. There was Peter McBride, and then there was a guy from Texas, Chris Vandergriff, I think also.
Well, you shot one of the lowest rounds there.
Yeah, I was on the lead card the second day.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a round I walked away from the round thinking, okay, I did a good job sticking to my game plan. I don't really know where I fell, and I was really kind of surprised to see how poorly the rest of the field did at that course.
It was playing super hard.
Well, and it's just super hard, and especially if you're a De La player and you got 1 or 2 practice rounds at Pinto and you got to Pinto for a tournament, it's going to eat you up because it's got that on-course OB that De La doesn't have. De La's got its OB holes, but you can spray left and right and find your way back. Pinto, you just add a stroke, and then you're still scrambling.
Wow, that's cool.
So
and so going into De La, so now you're 3-back, you're on lead card. And what was that second round like?
Man, it was great. So that guy, what was it? Chris Vandergriff from Texas, super great guy to have on the card. I remember he was. This is 10 years ago, so I'm 24. And he was a grown-ass man. He was 35 or whatever, and just had that real chill. I've played 100 tournaments. What's another M1 lead card? This is not a big deal. So his energy was kind of really mellow and fun, and he didn't make it very serious. The other guy on the card we had there was Robbie Weissel and his caddy, who's I believe his name is Nick. Nick, the caddy, was pounding Tecates the whole round.
I remember this story.
The whole round. And whatever, I don't care. Neither here nor there to me. He wasn't being a disturbance. Doesn't matter. That's their thing. Whatever.
The PDGA Wild Wild West days when caddies could get hammered.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And I guess, Peter McBride must have been the 4th on that card. There's not too much I remember about particular shots from that round or moments from that round. Probably just pretty mellow, sticking with my game plan until we got to 20. Let's see, what's the 23 plays downhill from the parking lot. We were playing a 27-hole layout that year. I think we skipped 20, 21, 22.
You skipped the lot. You played the lot.
We played the lot. We definitely. If we did, I don't know if we played. 20, 21, 22. We definitely played
23, 24.
Definitely played 20
and back up through the tunnel.
Definitely played those because Peter McBride had a good round going, and we got to hole 23, and he threw what looked like a perfect shot. It was in the pin would have been in the right position.
That bottom
not
right.
not the more treacherous kind of in the middle, but the bottom right. And it just it shot just looked perfect. And we got down there and we couldn't find it. We looked and we looked and we looked and it was just gone. And he had to re-tee, and then his round just went off.
I'm surprised there was no spotter there.
Yeah, no, I mean, hey, we're just the AMs, but
whatever. 2010.
Yeah, you could definitely use one. But it was a really crazy moment because he was playing really well.
Yeah.
Lost the disc in the Open, and that he never came back. I think he played the hill at like 4 or 5 over, something like that.
Oh, bummer.
But then the other moment from that round that I'll always remember, and I'm sure my fellow players on the card will always remember, is getting to top of the world, and we all 4 players, we all throw our tee shots inbounds. We can see them all inbounds, and then Robbie's caddy says, "Hey, I want to throw one." And he's probably 9 or 10 Tecates deep at this time. And I say, "You can't do that." And he goes, "No, it's fine. I'll just throw one." And he gets up there and he hucks the 5th one. And like in my head, like I'm kind of pissed because obviously, you can't do that. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
It doesn't really matter. Everyone had already thrown. It's not going to affect the outcome of the game. But just like as a purist, it irks me. And I was kind of going back and forth in my mind on the way down the hill. I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to go to the TD. Like, I'm not going to rat this guy out. Like, it's fine. I don't like it, but whatever. It's fine. And as we're walking down, the TD is walking up the hill on 27. And he says, "Hey, who threw the 5th disc?"
Oof.
And I didn't have to say anything. Someone else on the card was like, "Oh, it was the caddy." And there you go. That's your. I think it was a 1-shot penalty. But Robbie was pissed. The caddy was pissed. It was really kind of a weird vibe to end the round. I'm pretty sure I made my birdie putt. I have a great picture from that one that's what a moment that is, right? In the Masters Cup, everybody's at the bottom watching you play down. You're in the last group of the day. You make the putt in front of everybody. They all cheer. It's awesome. Like that is a really cool golf moment.
And then that one stroke ended up being the reason that you got in the playoff the next day.
I mean, and you could chalk it up to any number, we threw 250 shots.
Right.
But that one seems like the one. That sure seems like the one.
The fact remains. Had you heard this story, Rory? Did you know about this?
I had no idea.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a twist, man. And that's the thing, like, so that caddy, Nick, like, he never looked at me again. Like, we would see each other around daylight. It's not he wouldn't talk to me. It's like if he wouldn't look at me.
He didn't want to realize any of that.
It's like, okay, I didn't do anything. Like I didn't report.
I mean, you tried to stop him. Like
I tried to you could definitely. I tried to save him from himself.
He didn't want that. I told you so. Look.
Yeah.
Probably couldn't look at you because he was so ashamed.
Probably.
Well, no, of course. It's a human emotion, of course. But and then I don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember much about the final round either, as far as like individual until we got to the playoff.
Tell us about the playoff. This is what the people want, Wes.
Yeah. So give us the rundown on the playoff. I mean, I kind of remember a little bit of it, but I know there was maybe some gamesmanship or a little bit of fast thinking.
There was a little gamesmanship there. There was a little bit of experienced match play. The first hole, I think still a Z nuke in my bag, and I was throwing a nuke off the first hole, and I was going first. Remember, I was going first, and I yanked a hyzer to the right, and I thought I pulled it, and I thought I missed the Mando, and I turned around and I didn't even watch it. It was so bad. And then from behind me, there was a gasp from the crowd. The crowd goes, "Oh!" And I guess it must have hit a funky limb and kicked back into play. Or, I mean, that could be the only thing that happened. But it's just like, oh my God, I'm still alive. Like that was a really amazing bit of love from the course that really helped me out. And I think I was at the base of the boards.
And was playing in the Sunday short position on the left, or was it in Masters Cup?
I think it was in the Masters Cup for this one. I'm pretty sure it was in the Masters Cup.
Okay.
Because I threw a very Chris Grow inspired touchy forehand. I thought about Chris as I was lining the shot up.
Shout
It was
out.
like a Seattle forehand, and I thought touchy Chris Anheuser,
Shout out.
and got it up there for easy tap in par. We both make par. Second hole was nothing memorable happened. We both got up there, got up and down for our pars.
Mm-hmm.
On the third hole, I go first. I throw a roller. It ends up pin high. I was throwing DX rocks for rollers on that hole at the time. It ends up pin high, maybe 40 feet to the right. Great spot. I mean, off the tee looks like a great spot. Looks like I'm having a putt. Robbie hits an early right tree, and he's maybe a third of the way down the fairway. So we're walking down. He throws his upshot to about 40 feet short. And we get up to our lies. I'm kind of standing over mine. I'm looking at him, and he asks me if he's out. And it happens really fast in my head. Like the whole sequence happens really fast in my head. The first thought is, I'm probably out. The second thought is, if I tell him he's out, he'll go. And then third thought is, if he misses, I lay up for the win.
It's over.
That's it. So I said, "You're out."
Yes.
And it's like, it's one of those things. Like, if he didn't agree, he could say, "Actually, I think it's you."
Or let's walk it off. Or if it's that close, I would want to.
Exactly.
For me, that's his bad to not push the issue there and to just accept it.
It is. I have a little bit of a spirit of the game issue with myself.
Okay.
Just the fact that I didn't think he was out. I didn't honestly believe he was out. So
okay. I see.
So there was definitely kind of a sneaky gamesmanship part there.
Wow. Three Hail Marys for you.
I mean,
well, you got to catch a lot of breaks to win a tournament.
Man, I don't know. Part of me is like, I hear you, and part of me is like, you know what? Like, you got to know the rules, and the rules
There's a self-advocacy component, right? Even in a big moment, you've got to be. If you don't think you're out and you think you're being put at a disadvantage, you got to be willing to speak up and speak for yourself. I mean, we have that option.
But and that's probably, he's not thinking that far ahead either. Like you're there going, hey, I know where my situation is, and that comes down to like match play experience. And like
his head's all over the place. He hit the early tree. He's throwing a scramble shot. He knows he has to make this putt.
He's thinking about his caddy throwing off the top of the road the day before.
Man, if he had one less Tecate, where would we be now?
Was his caddy still a caddy the final day?
That's a great question. I don't think so.
You got fired.
I think the caddy may have been asked to or he might have been there as a spectator for the third round, but he was not, tied to his player.
That's so good. That's so cool, man. What a story. That's a great story.
But to speak to Rory's, definitely one of the things that, like, one of my regular thoughts during that tournament was I thought I was going to win that year because I had put a bunch of prep work in. I'd done that whole game planning thing.
That's cool.
Balls deep in Rotella. And so my attitude was if something bad happened to me, if I got a bad kick or something, I would think to myself, well, I'm going to win, so let's see how we find our way out of this. Mm-hmm. Like, I know I'm going to win, so let's see how this plays out. And if I had a good kick, I would think, great, you got to have some good kicks to win a tournament. Like,
exactly.
You need a couple good breaks, and mine was Mexican lager.
I love that mindset, that winner's mindset of like always. There was a story about, I don't know, the like a basketball player who's like keeps on missing and missing and missing, but it's like he wants the ball because he knows he's that good to where the law of averages say that he's going to make the next shot. So it's like, oh, I missed, but now I'm even more due. So give me that ball. I want the ball.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing about averages. There's something I was talking to Scott Stokely about this recently. I'm kind of getting off topic maybe a little bit about like what makes a player clutch or like how we think about clutch athletes and what that means. I think the common sense idea is that clutch athletes rise to a higher level in the big moment. Michael Jordan's the classic example. They think, oh, well, he just played his best basketball in the playoffs. Or when it really mattered. That's why we think He's the best. And if you actually look at his statistics, his playoff averages are the same as his career averages across the board. So I think it's so much that clutch athletes play above their level in big situations is that they minimize how low below it they drop.
Yeah.
It's that they're able to play closer to their average in those high pressure situations.
I think I agree with that.
Clutch players drop off.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It's something that's been on my mind a lot lately.
No,
it's not that you don't rise to the occasion. You sink to the level of your practice. I think that makes so much more sense.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been practicing a lot. I think that the year I won was either the first year I was employed at Paradise or it was right on the tail end of my year on unemployment. So I had been playing a lot of disc golf.
You guys were getting all those morning rounds in, huh?
Oh my gosh, yes, that was a special time in life for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Wes, before we go, I have two little fun facts. One is you beat Matt Bell at Pinto Lake by 4 shots.
All right.
And I actually reached out to Matt about his shots.
So good.
About me beating him?
No, about this.
I was going to say, I don't think he'd remember me.
How do I share this? Okay, I'm going to share this real quick. Here we go. I think this would be funny. Are you on there?
Yeah.
Now you can see my DMs here. I've been talking. Frisbee Nate just reached out to me again. We've been talking about getting a Masters Cup dinner.
Oh, yes.
Hey,
yes.
Quit flexing your DMs, man.
Sorry. So look, I reached out to Matt Bell about this. And I said, Matt, we're playing in the Masters Cup this week. My buddy won M1. That's you, Wes. And Dave was playing with him in the intermediate division that year.
Dude, I don't remember playing with him. It sucks. I cannot for the life of me remember playing with Matt Bell. I'm so bummed.
Here's his response.
Well, you didn't know who he was, yeah.
I know, but you would think,
Wes, it was his first tournament ever.
So wild.
Oh. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Isn't that sweet?
Awesome.
And this story that he's saying about how he made par and the other guy missed, I don't think that was me. I know I was 2 back. I finished in a tie for second that year in AM2.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think that was me that was in the bat. I don't remember what I did.
This is Connor Plant and David Ryan were the other two.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to track down Connor Plant to get the story, huh? Looks like he's the Santa Cruz guy.
I'm gonna have to, yeah.
I think we might have to. I remember I was in the playoff with him for the second and third place trophy.
We're gonna dig deep.
But I definitely think. I had Peter McBride on my card that second day, and
that's right.
I've always been a big Peter McBride fan after that.
Sure.
His trajectory after that was straight to 2020. He plays great golf.
So cool, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Rory, what's your question for a Masters Cup winner, going into your M2 tournament? What's your do you have a takeaway question?
I mean, so I woke up yesterday, and the last time I played at Northridge Country Club at the golf course with Adam, I made a course map on my own journal. In every shot, I put what I was going to hit, what I was going to hit, 18 holes, and I had it with me in my scorecard. And I shot the best round. I shot 2 or 3 over at Northridge.
Yeah, brother. Just while we're on the golf topic, I threw down another 80 the other day. 3 birdies. I overdrove 2 par 4s first time in my life. 2 of them.
Wow.
So that's right. So I can't wait to get back and golf with you guys. Because the golf game
70s are coming.
I heard you were in town, Wes, and I heard you were a little too scared to come down and get us at dinner. That's the word.
I like to do my visits in chunks. I like to do a San Diego trip each year, something in the city, and then you're on the list. You're on the list for summer of this year. Yeah.
Good stuff, man.
So I'm gonna do that for De La this year.
Cool.
I think that's what. Yeah. I fingers crossed you guys get that Masters Cup Champions dinner going. That sounds wonderful.
That would be cool.
So
why not you guys host I mean, the gentleman. Who better than the gentleman
Right.
to put on a Masters Cup dinner?
I don't disagree with you.
It would be epic.
I'm trying to find this last thing before we go. I don't know where it is. I was gonna show you. I was gonna show you Chris's buttery forehand. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here it is.
The buttery forehand of legend.
Since you made reference to it, here we go.
Oh, here it is. We got one. This is a good one.
Is this
I didn't realize you guys had so much content.
Do it.
So good.
Oh,
Well, 15.
hell yeah. Hell yeah. I definitely birdied that cup, or that hole in the Masters Cup. T-bird.
That's a good two.
Yeah.
There's some new par fours out there, man. De La's looking pretty cherry right now. It's going to be an exciting tournament.
Good, good.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah,
Where can I find your podcast?
what's that?
On YouTube? Where can I find your podcast?
Yeah, we'll send you the link.
Yeah, you can find our podcast on Barf and Garf YouTube channel. That's the YouTube channel that the boys subscribe to. Please like and subscribe and let us know in the comments.
Smash that like button. Smash that like button.
Your cat. Your cat is all over you when you're trying to get down in frisbee.
Oh,
Good stuff, man. Thanks for reminiscing with us, dude. Appreciate
yeah,
it.
cheers to you. Thanks so much for having me. It's fun to talk about. It's
Yeah.
still the best tournament memory of my life. So hopefully
Oh,
something passes it at some point. But
What a tournament to win. And now if you win, I don't know if they're doing it this year, but they've been running the amateur winner onto like the pro card and filming it.
oh yeah, they do that every year, except for that one year that it was B tier that I won.
Except that one year.
You get a free entrance into the pro weekend, and they stick you with the best players. Yeah, that's.
Do you think about that sometimes, that you missed out on that, and that you could have been Gomez? Like,
I think about it sometimes, and then I watch some of those first Masters Cup rounds for those guys, and
Oh, they just get eaten up.
I thought about that, like if I won M1 now, and I would just, that would be tough.
There was one guy held his own. Was it Dylan?
Yeah, 2019, I think.
No,
Yeah,
well,
he
Dylan was
got
playing pro.
Ready, 9 down. Oh yeah, he's probably just playing pro, and then
Dylan played pro, shot a hot round 1, round 2, he made lead card. So that's a different vibe.
Oh, different situation. Gotcha.
Different situation.
He was just a local favorite. He did well.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
but Thomas Tomaselli won it.
Oh yeah, Zoltan. Yeah.
And I think they got hammered.
Yeah, they got well. I mean, when you're a local playing M1, you're like, all right, 1 down, 2 down. Let's do this. That's shredding.
Scorching.
Like, oh yeah. Then you play with those guys and they're 6 down through 8, and you're like, okay, well maybe it's a different game.
Jomez and the crowd, and you're playing with Ricky Wysocki and Nate Sexton maybe, and I can't even imagine.
That's gonna be you in a couple weeks, Dave.
Let's see what happens, man. Let's see.
You know what?
I'm trying to get through it.
There is a spot for the AM1 already on the. I looked on the link, so it's there.
Oh, it's a student. I mean, they've done it forever.
Yeah.
It's always been the M1 winner gets a bump, just not that 1 year.
Wow, I'm very bitter about that. Wes, give us that trophy one more time as a parting gift.
Oh, well, I don't know.
There she is.
Oh.
Yeah. I wonder how many of those wine trophies Kyle would trade for that.
I'm sure his AM2 victory means just as much to him.
Oh, wow.
So good.
Right.
Thanks, Wes.
Let's chat with you guys. Thanks so much for having me.
Let's do it again. I want to talk sports psychology. Have a whole thing on that next time.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's talk golf, sports psychology.
I'm into it. I'm super into it.
Putting Out of Your Mind by Bob Rotella.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go read that right now because I'm going out of my mind trying to figure out how to putt right now. So. All right, guys. Have a good afternoon.
Bye.